Hi, welcome to Contemplations The Podcast. I am your host, King Kenna, and I'm glad to have you here. I think that random ideas can be great teachers, so it is my expectation that while I have you here with me, you can find safety in thinking, questioning, and learning. I hope you enjoy the experience. Hi. Welcome to the first, well, not really first, but welcome to the introductory episode of Contemplations. I am excited to bring this podcast finally to you, and I want to start by thanking you for clicking or do people click? I don't know. For doing whatever it is you did to listen to this. I appreciate it. And I'm really glad to have you here. So, it is Contemplations, the podcast. And this episode is going to be a very short one because it's just an introduction to the podcast. I just wanted to go over a few things in terms of establishing why I created the podcast, what the podcast will be about, and a few other things that I think are good to share moving forward. So, before I get started, I would like to make a quick dedication of this episode to Kezia Malam. I already asked for her permission to do this and she graciously accepted, but I thought it was very important to shout you out, Kezia, because I just wanted to publicly thank you for giving me the idea to start the podcast, for having so much faith in me, and for being such a beautiful, wonderful human being. I'm so grateful to know you, and I'm so thankful for your ideas and how willing you are to share them and provide feedback and give encouragement. I really appreciate it, and I love you, girl. Okay, so now that I've done that, I would love to answer a few questions that I think are important to know moving on about Contemplations, the podcast. So what is Contemplations, the podcast? It's a podcast really that highlights my contemplations because I am someone who tends to think about things a lot. I can actually even think about things more than I'm actually doing those things. So it can be a problem. But when I was thinking about finding the balance between thinking and doing, or like someone really put it nicely, and I really appreciate this way of phrasing it. We are human beings and not human doings. I think there has to be a balance between being a person and doing something as a person. So I wanted to fill what I felt like is a void in the world around me in terms of how we interact with our thoughts. I don't think that there is enough space given to people to let them just think about things, contemplate things, ask questions, not necessarily for the point of arriving at a conclusion, but just to ponder on things that sometimes don't necessarily have answers. So I kind of wanted to design a podcast that would allow me the space to talk about things that I think about that sometimes can be random and sometimes can be maybe a little serious or a lot, and just have conversations about them, sometimes by myself and sometimes with other people. And so I wanted to do something like that. And I'm just glad to be finally doing it because, like I mentioned earlier, I tend to just think a lot about stuff and not actually do it. So Kaz actually recommended I do a podcast at least 3 years ago, and look when I'm just doing it. So anyway, I'm hoping that this will be a space that allows thinking, and because I'm hoping to talk to some really dear friends of mine that I admire and respect, as well as people whose thoughts I find interesting, I really think this is going to be a really great opportunity for people to just listen to how people break down a thought that individually they have and collectively they want to understand better. Because I have conversations like this very often. I'm very blessed to be surrounded by just really smart, really wise, really intelligent people who have enough time to just talk with me about some of the random musings I have. And a lot of times we have really good conversations about these topics. And so I think this will be a great opportunity for you to have sort of a front row seat into some conversations. And again, the hope is that while you listen, you kind of grab by osmosis the value of just sitting with a thought, not necessarily coming to a conclusive decision about that thought, but to really ponder it and reevaluate as needed why you think about things the way that you think about things, and of course eventually decisions will come out of some of those thoughts, but that's not the goal here. The goal here is to rest and sit in the thinking process and pretty much exercise that muscle. So yeah, I hope I explained that properly. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to establish what I think will be a fine balance between thinking and acting through conversations. So Contemplations will be a weekly podcast, hopefully, and it'll be in seasons. I have designed it to have multiple seasons, but each season will have 7 episodes. This is a bonus episode, so it doesn't count, again, because I'm just introducing the idea of the podcast. Yeah. So where can you find this podcast? I think it's going to be available on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And if that changes, I will communicate accordingly. Also, if you want to follow on social media, the podcast, it's going to be on Instagram and Twitter at The King Kenna. And I think the email is contemplationsthepod@gmail.com, but I will update all of this in the description box. And just to recap, because I am at the end of this intro video, I just have told you about what Contemplations is and what I hope to achieve with the podcast and where you can find the podcast, as well as social media outlets that you can connect and keep in touch with me and the podcast on. That being said, 2 final thoughts that I really think are important to share. The first one is that I really want to reiterate that this is not a platform where I'm an expert. I'm not an expert in anything, really. Well, technically, soon I will be an expert in one tiny thing, but still, I'm absolutely not an expert. I just love to learn and I love to ask questions, and I want to share that with people, with you, and as many as would love to listen. I just want to spread the joy of questioning a lot of things, because I think it is very important to be able to question why you do the things you do in the way you do them, or why things are the way they are, or why we go through certain things. I just think to a level it is healthy to have questions about these things, and so I kind of want to create a platform for that. So yeah, please do not approach this from the perspective of someone hoping to get some sort of expert advice or feedback from me. Even if I do bring on experts on this platform and we have conversations, that is not the point of this podcast. There are plenty other podcasts that exist where you can find advice if you're looking for that, but this is not where that is. So I just kind of wanted to establish that. And then finally, I would love to give a shout out to my brother for helping me record the soundtrack for the podcast. I believe truly that I have the best brother in the world. You can argue with yourself. It's not even. Anyway, I love you so much and I'm so thankful for your incredible support of me, even though low-key you can be annoying, but I love you. So that brings me to the end of this podcast or this episode. Oh my gosh, I'm a baby podcaster, you know. So I'm going to try and be better at this. We'll see how it goes, but I'm trying to learn how to talk I don't know. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for getting this far with me. And we are at the end of this episode. Stay tuned for the rollout of the 7-episode podcast season 1. And I can give you a little snippet. The first thing we're going to be talking about, which I'm extremely excited for, is nostalgia. So yeah, if you're interested in finding out some of mine and my friends' random musings on the topic of nostalgia, stay tuned and for when the first episode drops. And I really think you're going to enjoy it because when I was having this conversation, I was so giddy. It was just so great to listen to 2 of my very dear friends talk about nostalgia. And I think for some of you, you might find really new insights that you hadn't considered before when you were thinking about nostalgia, if you were thinking about nostalgia. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thank you for your time. And again, I'm so glad to have you here. And I look forward to seeing you on the first official episode of Contemplations The Podcast. Have, my voice is breaking. Have a lovely day, night, or whatever it is that you're doing. Have fun doing it. And yeah, peace and blessings. Bye.